Initiating daily report. System true crime protocol ready. Evidence analysis in progress. A seemingly perfect home becomes a stage for horror as a woman is brutally killed within her own walls. All the while, her ex-husband faces upgraded murder charges, entangled in a web of security footage that reveals the chilling identity of a masked intruder. This terrifying episode dives deep into the mind of a vicious criminal, recently paroled after vicious attacks, now linked to yet another tragedy. And as investigators unravel a case involving a Yale graduate student, secrets unfold that shake the very foundations of trust. Subscribe for more. Let's begin.
In the quiet neighborhood of Weinland Park, Ohio, the morning of December 30th began with a chilling silence that would soon be broken by a heartbreaking discovery. When a local dentist failed to arrive for his scheduled shift, his concerned colleagues requested a wellness check. What authorities found inside the residence on that winter morning was a scene of profound tragedy that has since captivated the nation. Monique Tepe, aged 39, and her husband Spencer Tepe, aged 37, were found in the upstairs area of their home. Both had suffered fatal injuries that led to their passing. In a small mercy amidst the darkness, the couple's two young children, a 1-year-old son and a 4-year-old daughter, were discovered physically unharmed alongside the family dog. The children are now in the care of their relatives, as the community grapples with the loss of a couple described as remarkable and deeply devoted to their family. The investigation quickly centered on a man from Monique's past. Michael David McKee, a 39-year-old cardiovascular surgeon and Monique's former husband, was identified as the primary suspect. Following a 10-day multi-state search, law enforcement tracked McKee to the Chicago area, where he was taken into custody. He now faces 2 counts of aggravated murder. These upgraded charges reflect the gravity of the incident and could lead to a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. Detectives found no signs of forced entry at the $700,000 home, suggesting the perpetrator may have had access or was known to the victims. While the weapon used in the incident has not been recovered, investigators found 3 9mm shell casings at the scene. Crucial evidence also came from neighborhood surveillance footage, which captured a hooded figure walking calmly through a snowy alleyway near the residence during the early morning hours. Experts, including retired agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, have pointed toward a possible motive rooted in long-standing resentment. Monique and McKee were married in August of 2015, but the union was short-lived, ending in divorce only 7 months later. Court documents from 2017 paint a picture of a contentious separation. The filings detail disputes over financial matters, including the cost of engagement and wedding rings valued at $6,000. There was even a clause requiring Monique to repay a debt of $1,281.59, with a threat of 23% interest if the deadline was missed. At the time of their legal separation, a mutual restraining order was also put in place to prevent any harassment or physical harm between the two parties. As the legal proceedings begin in Winnebago County, before McKee is extradited back to Ohio, those who knew the Tepes are focused on honoring their memory. Friends and family remember Monique as a bubbly and caring mother, while Spencer was known for his passion for dentistry and his kindness. They were a couple whose lives were defined by laughter, travel, and a deep connection to those around them. While the justice system moves forward to address the actions of the suspect, the focus remains on the 2 young children left behind, and the legacy of a family whose light was extinguished far too soon. In the quiet Melbourne suburb of South Morang, a tragic event took the life of 35-year-old Nikita Azapardi. On October 26th, Nikita had her bags packed, ready to begin a new chapter. However, her life was cut short within her own home. Her brothers, Sean and Darren, made the heartbreaking discovery 2 days later after entering the residence to confront 34-year-old Joel Micallef. The Supreme Court of Victoria recently ruled that Mr. Micallef was not legally responsible for his actions due to mental impairment. Medical experts testified that he was experiencing a severe psychological episode at the time. He is now expected to be transferred to Thomas Embling Hospital for psychiatric care. Nikita's family, however, is struggling to accept this outcome. Her brothers argue there was clear evidence of intent and control, alleging that Mr. Mikolev had prevented her from leaving by taking her keys and locking the doors. They also discovered unused medication at the home, suggesting he was not following his treatment plan. The family is now calling for urgent reforms to the 1997 Mental Impairment Act, hoping to ensure other families receive the justice they feel was denied to them. They believe a jury should have been the one to decide the final verdict. In January 2023, detectives in Hillsboro, Oregon responded to a tragic discovery at a large technology campus. 56-year-old Kenneth Fandrick had failed to return home after his shift, leading his concerned wife to track his phone to a parking garage. There, officers found that Kenneth had passed away inside his vehicle. While the scene initially seemed peaceful, investigators quickly uncovered a chilling mystery. Security footage showed a masked individual wearing a hard hat, who had tampered with several cameras earlier that day. This mysterious figure was linked to a maroon van, marking the beginning of a deep dive into a fatal incident fueled by a hidden obsession. Investigators linked the suspect, Stephen Milner, to the scene after discovering a matching hard hat at a local store. While a vital maroon minivan was tragically destroyed at a scrapyard just days before police could seize it, forensic experts recovered the suspect's DNA from the victim's hands. During the trial in January 13, 2025, Milner claimed he was merely protecting a loved one, but his testimony failed to convince the jury. He was found guilty of taking the life of Kenny Fandrick and multiple stalking charges. In February 18, 2025, the court sentenced Milner to life in prison, with a chance for parole after 25 years. Authorities in New South Wales are facing intense scrutiny following the recent detention of a high-risk individual named Carl Edward Little. This case has sparked significant public debate regarding the justice system and parole oversight. Little was originally serving a lengthy sentence for a grave incident that occurred in December 2006 at the Silverwater Correctional Center. During that unprovoked encounter, he caused severe injuries to 57-year-old prison officer Wayne Smith. Tragically, Mr. Smith passed away in the hospital 6 weeks later due to the injuries sustained. Despite a long history of serious offenses and over a decade spent in the state's most secure facilities, Little was granted supervised release in August 2024. However, within just months of his parole beginning, he was allegedly involved in a string of new legal breaches. These included the possession of a weapon in public and various domestic violence offenses. Public concern escalated as Little remained at liberty despite missing court appearances in Wagga Wagga. Last Thursday, police issued an urgent appeal to the public to help locate him. He was finally apprehended on Friday morning and now faces 13 new charges, including stalking and property damage. A magistrate has formally refused bail, and Little is currently held at the Juni Correctional Center as the community seeks answers. On February 6, 2021, a promising young man named Kevin Zhang was driving through the East Rock neighborhood of New Haven, Connecticut. The 26-year-old Yale graduate student and National Guard veteran had just spent a beautiful day with his fiancée, Zion Perry. His journey ended abruptly when his vehicle was struck from behind by a dark SUV. Investigators believe that when Kevin stepped out to assess the minor collision, a perpetrator took his life in a targeted act of violence. The investigation led detectives to a series of mysterious incidents involving .45 caliber shell casings found at the scene. A major breakthrough occurred when police encountered Qingchuan Pan, a graduate of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, who had become stuck on nearby railroad tracks shortly after the event. While Pan initially avoided suspicion, a firearm found near his hotel linked him to the evidence. Detectives soon discovered a hidden motive. Pan had a secret obsession with Kevin's fiancée Zion, whom he knew from their time at university. After a high-profile national manhunt that stretched to Alabama, the suspect was finally detained. In April 2024, Pan was sentenced to 35 years in prison. Though justice was served, the community continues to mourn the loss of a gifted young man whose future was tragically cut short